Hi, this is Corky. I'm one of the founders of the Pump Station, and here today I'm going to show you the Symphony pump and how to use it. The Symphony is made by Medela and considered best pump, I think, in the world. It is used in all the West Side hospitals. It can go from mother to mother to mother, no cross-contamination at all. Every mother has her sterile kit, and many moms need it at home because perhaps they have a baby in the intensive care unit, they have multiples, they have a lower supply that needs better stimulation, and so they are rentable. You can actually buy this pump, but it's fairly expensive to do that. So most people just rent it. So there's lots of good reasons to use it. If you start using it within the hospital setting, then you are supplied the pump to use in the hospital and a sterile kit to use with it. So I'm going to show you how it works. It is a beautiful, smooth, fantastic pump. Even some moms keep it in their workplace when they're back at work because it gives them a better pump in that situation. All right, so I'm going to show you. Here's the pump. It's lovely and pretty. In order to use it, you open the lid, and then you will use this area to connect to tubing to go to the mom. So the tubing first has to have these little, I call them spaceships. They're the connectors to the pump. They come usually apart like this. This is a very flimsy little piece that fits, it's a membrane that fits over a harder plastic piece. And it goes right on the top here. So I'm going to push it down, and I use the long end to come out this little groove. So I'm going to do that on both sides. This pump is cool in that you don't have to change anything to make it a single. You just use one side, the other, or both. Now I'm going to close the lid and snap it in place. Now I'm going to connect the tubing. This end is triangular, and that's the one that fits on the pump. You'll see that the opening is triangular and fits it on both sides. And now I can connect the tubing to my flange and bottle. So I'm going to take that apart for you in just a minute, but this is how it fits right here. And you're all set. Let's take this apart. So this is a flange. This is a connector, this piece. And this is the valve and the valve membrane. So any parts that touch milk need to be washed each time, including the valve. So I'm just going to separate that valve from the connector. There's a membrane, the little valve membrane here that's pretty fragile, but they're very inexpensive to rebuy. But if it gets lost down your disposal or it gets torn, it won't work. The pump won't work. So I then seat that onto the valve and place it on that hole that then hangs right down into whatever receptacle you're pumping into, a plastic bag or a bottle, and then my flange. I like this because Medela, some pump companies, this is all one piece. And so in order to change your flange size, you have to buy all of that. But Medela separates it, and so you can change your flange size easily. One little tip, it's really wise to use your nipple cream lightly in the tunnel of the pump because then it feels nicer. You slide, it's less friction when you're pumping. You'll like that a lot. Let me show you the pump up closer for just a minute. I'm going to take it apart again so you can see how it works. So when I turn the pump on, we've got some close-ups for you also, but in the window, it says initiate. In a couple, really like 6, 7, 8 seconds, it'll change to the word maintain, and you will see 3 droplets of milk in the window. Do you see that yet? Now I can turn it up in suction. And look at it at the top. Watch as I increase the suction with that wheel. So go as high as you can without pain. We don't want you to have pain, but you don't need to go all the way. Just to what feels good pull tug without pain. In 2 minutes, or when I decide I want to switch it because my milk is starting to flow, I can push the second side, or I can just let it turn on its own at 2 minutes to the second rhythm. So these 2 rhythms simulate the baby who is coming to the breast, lightly sucking until the milk starts to flow, and then they go into this deeper, slower pace because they're swallowing then. So once my milk has come down, it's flowed really well, now it's kind of slowing down a lot, I can hit this button and toggle back to the first rhythm again, which then would help to initiate a second release of milk, which is called the milk ejection reflex or the letdown reflex. So a lot of moms don't realize that they can go back and forth like that. It really helps to get a second flow of milk. So play with that and see what works well for you. And that's it. The Symphony. It's pretty terrific. Hi, this is a close-up of the Symphony pump. I'm going to show you how it works and how to put it together. So when you first get your Symphony, you need to open this little door, and in there you'll see this odd-looking little top, and I'm going to turn it on and show you how it works. So that is it running. In about a few seconds, I'll be able to switch it to the second rhythm. When it comes on, it's going 70 strokes a minute and very light. I can adjust my strength or my suction, my vacuum, by turning this wheel. And that actually is showing greater suction. In 2 minutes, it automatically shifts to a second rhythm, or I can switch it earlier if I like by pressing the button on the right side of your pump. And there is a new rhythm. Can you see that? So that simulates a baby when they're not swallowing and when they're swallowing. So a baby, when they come to the breast, nurses light and fast. And then when the milk is released to them, they change to a slower rhythm with swallowing. You have the ability to send that back to the first rhythm again by pushing that button on the right. And the wheel in the center adjusts your suction. I'm going to turn it off now and just put it together for you. I want you to see the parts that make it connect to you. So the first piece, this connector piece, comes to you in two parts. This very flimsy, pliable part fits right over the more structured part, the hard shell, and then it snaps right onto the top of your pump. I hope you can see the groove here that the tail fits into, and then push it down hard so it fits there. And then you would put your second side on. Then you would add your tubing. One end of the tubing is very small. The other end is triangular and fits into this connector piece right here. Once I've connected that, I'm going to close the lid and snap it in place. Now I'm going to add my bottle, my pump flange and connector. So this is what I love about Medela is that the pieces come apart. I don't have to buy these two pieces together. I can separate that and add a different size flange if I like, which are quite inexpensive. So the flange fits onto the connector and the valve fits onto the connector. This is the valve and this little valve membrane, which must be there to make it functional. And you can see how those parts fit together. I just lay it on there and make sure it lays flat. Pop it right there, and then screw on my bottle or whatever bag I'm using to store milk in. I want to also show you a close-up of the pump running so you can see the words. So as I turn it on, can you see the word initiate? And in a minute, it's going to change to maintain, and then you're going to see 3 milk drops in the window. And then I can turn the suction up. Once that happens, then I can dial up my suction to whatever I like. And remember, we like as much suction as you can tolerate without pain. You don't need to go all the way up, just what you can tolerate without pain. We don't want pain. A little tip on pumping too is that it's really wise to use a little nipple cream in the tunnel here so that you glide and slide a little bit better. So that's it. I can also switch this back and forth, toggling between the 2 rhythms, which is helpful to milk supply. So when you're on the second rhythm, the slower rhythm, now your milk is slowed down, go ahead and click that back to the first rhythm again, and in 2 minutes it'll switch to the second rhythm. If you need any more help with your pump, be sure and let us know. We are always willing to help. And how about joining our support group on Tuesdays at 1:15? It's on Zoom.